Hey, this is Will from Chill House Studios, back here with George, and today we're going to check out some more amps and simulators in our series that we started with the clean amps a couple weeks ago. Today we're going to be looking at a Universal Audio, basically model of a 1965 Fender Deluxe Reverb. I also today have an actual 1966 Fender Deluxe Reverb. So you have your 65 pedal and then your 66 real thing, and then we're going to pull up two plugins in the computer, one made by Native Instruments and one made by Slate, that also have models of the 65 or 66 Fender Deluxe Reverb. And we're also going to play a little bit of the tape echo just because we think that's fun. So I think first thing today we're going to check out George's Universal Audio pedal. Is it called Dream?
65 Dream.
65 Dream. And we're just going to play maybe the telly a little bit and the and a humbucker equipped guitar a little bit and just kind of get those sounds. And we might bounce back over to the actual amp and then we can do a little A/B of comparison of the two. So let's see. I'll turn it up here. George, can you give us a little bit? So this is the 65 Dream, just sort of clean, no reverb, clean sound, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Go for it. Cool. And then it has reverb on the pedal.
It's got reverb on the pedal, so that's no reverb. That's about a fourth of the way up.
Okay.
Halfway up.
Let's unplug that and plug it in this one and just see, now that we have that sound fresh in our head. Back in the pedal. Any thoughts?
I mean, I like the bass response from the amp a little more. It feels a little more contained, like
yeah,
a little more mids.
Yeah,
going on from the amp.
Yeah. I feel like the amp feels a little more responsive.
Yeah.
To me, but the sound is pretty close. I mean, it's not, you can tell that they modeled one after the other, for sure. All right, so now let's take the sound and maybe let's see if there's anything in software world that's happening for us. So this is the Native Instruments Guitar Rig 6. So this is their version of the 65-66 era Fender Deluxe Reverb. It's on the screen, and it's got the reverb is separate from it, but go for it. I'll turn. Now I'm going to switch This is the Slate overloud plug-in version of the same amp. Come back to the real McCoy. And then back to the plug pedal. I mean, it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, there's kind of nothing like sitting beside an amp in a room that's moving air. There's just a quality to that. But I like your pedal second. I like the amp first, the pedal second, and I like the plugins third.
Yeah, you know what I really like about the pedal, and I bought it when I actually didn't have an amp. I just got rid of an amp that really wasn't the sound I was going for at the time, and I really wanted the Fender sound, but I didn't have the money for it. So I thought I'd get this, and I ran guitars through it. I ran lap steel, pedal steel, you know, and being able to just really easily change how much it's breaking up. You know, I can boost, I can adjust my EQ, tremolo, whatever, all from this pedal. That was really convenient for what I needed, and I even run it, you know, through my pedal board into my amp still, and I take the amp, the speaker cabinet setting off of it.
Right.
Yeah.
No doubt, it's definitely convenient. And yeah, I mean, for sure, it's great. It's just really interesting to compare them.
For sure.
So should we try some of these out with a humbucker equipped guitar?
I think that'd be a good idea.
Cool. So that was obviously a Telecaster, US Tele. This is a Epiphone 335. It's got Gibson Classic 57 pickups in it. And so what we'll do now is basically the same thing we did with the Telecaster, but we'll do it with the humbucker equipped guitar and just, you know, kind of see the sonic differences between the 4 different platforms, being the pedal, the real amp, and the 2 plugins. The plugins are set on the same kind of amp model that we have the real thing of here and that we have the pedal of there. All right, so first up is the actual pedal. Yeah, you notice that the humbuckers are higher output, so they drive the front end of the pedal harder. Cool. So now I'm going to take it and put it in the actual amp. Now I'm going to put it in the computer and we're going to hear it in, first off, let's hear it in, this will be the Native Instruments Guitar Rig 6. This is it in the Slate. So yeah, I mean, I feel like the plugins are a lot more two-dimensional to me. But you know, you also have to consider that's coming out of the speakers instead of out of an actual amp. But your pedal does a way better job of realism, I feel like, than either of the plugin.
I agree.
I mean, the plugins are cool. They're fine. But I guess as a person who's spent my life around amplifiers, I wouldn't look at the plugins personally as a replacement. I'd look at them as a different option.
Yeah.
But your pedal, I think, I can and totally can see, you know, you being a busy gigging musician, how walking in with that pedal just covers a lot of bases for you, and you don't have to actually have an amp and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but there is, you know, having an amp in a live setting to me is always better. Just by it being your own monitor when it's right behind you. I always found, especially working with volume pedals, like trying to get this dialed in and like the monitor stuff, it was kind of a headache. It took a lot longer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for that, 100%, which is if you're on a gig and your whole mix is kind of in the hands of the front of house person,
yeah,
as opposed to you know, you kind of want to have that control. So if you have the amp on a chair or something or tilted up back, you know, behind you, you're always guaranteed you're going to hear yourself, which, you know, that's pretty important when you're playing live.
Right.
And, you know, this is a studio setting too, so certainly traveling around with old amps has its own thing. I mean, these vintage amps, they all have to go in the shop. They need work if they're used, which they are here. So, you know, I've got these things being repaired about every 6 months or a year. It seems like one of them's in the shop. So now we're going to check out a Space Echo into the Fender amp. The Space Echo is a tape echo. It's an actual analog tape echo. And it also has a reverb tank in it, which means it has a spring reverb just like that amplifier has in it. So it's got tape echo, and it has spring reverb, both effects. So what you do is you plug the guitar into the unit and then you turn up the pre on it. Give me a little. And then basically you have a couple of different, you have the echo side and the reverb side, and you can use them separately or you can join them together. And so what a tape echo does is it's actually recording the signal onto the tape actively all the time. And then the signal gets recorded onto the tape from the guitar. In this case, you can run keyboards or whatever you want. I'm going to take the lid off of it. Basically, the first head is the record head, and then there's a second head, which is the first in line next to the record head, and that's the shortest reverb. That's like a slapback. So when you listen to that head, I'm sorry, not reverb, but echo. And then the number 2 is the middle head, so it's a little bit longer. And number 3 is even longer. And then what you can do is you can vary speed the motor on it, which means that for each of the 3 preset heads, physical heads in the machine, you can slow the motor down. So here I'll slow down this is the head that's farthest away from the record head, so this is the longest reverb, and this is the slowest the motor will go. So that's the slowest delay you can have on this machine. It's all mechanical, there's no digital in this. So now if we go back to, say, number 1 head, which is the fastest head, and I'll put the motor on the fastest it'll go. That's a slapback, right? Yeah. You'll hear it's making some noise. It's an analog tape machine. It's a little noisy. I could probably stand to put a newer tape in it. So that's the echo side. There are other choices. The number 4 is, I believe, it's the first and third head mixed together. That's fun. And then you can have only the reverb. This is just only the reverb part. mix the reverb and the delays together. But one of the fun things to do on it is, so number 5 is the same as number 1 with reverb, number 6 is the same as number 2 with reverb, number 7 is number 3 with reverb, number 8 is number 4 with reverb, and then after 9, 10, and 11 are different mixtures of the heads. I think one of them is the first and third head, one of them is the second and third head, and one's the first and second head together. So one of the fun things to do is take like a longish with reverb, and then play me a chord. Play me one more chord. So what I'm doing here is it has a repeat or feedback, and they actually label that as intensity. So when you have delay, you have the timing of the delay, like how fast does the sound repeat, and then you have another control on all delays, which is how many repeats do you get. So you can set it to have 1 repeat, where it's just like bop bop, or you can have 3 bop 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 bop, or you can have an infinite number bop bop bop. It goes on and on. But if you set delays to infinite, especially, they'll usually start to feed back on themselves because it creates an infinite feedback loop. And if you combine that with, in the case of this machine, with messing with the motor speed, you get this pitch shifting. You can create these crazy sonic landscapes with just a chord on a guitar, on an organ, on a keyboard, whatever, and it's super fun to do, and it's really trippy and psychedelic and all that. And then that's another fun thing that you could do with this machine. That's not every pedal does that way. So you can use it as a really straightforward slapback, straightforward delay and reverb, or you can do some kind of extra stuff with it like that, and that's always fun. So you can play this out. I'll just put it on a nice sort of medium setting.